I didn't mean. So there's another classic Mikeism. I'm recording now. I have no idea when I started recording. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again. I am just thrilled to be talking to Tink. Duane Tinker is the toothcop. Your podcast is Talking with the Toothcop. Your company is Dental Compliance. And man, you do a great job for all your clients. And most of them are Texas, Oklahoma, but you can be anywhere. Because you were the first guy to do it virtually anywhere, because you do it anywhere virtually.
That I know of.
Yeah. Well,
that I know of. Yeah. Yeah, I love what I do, Mike. They say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I've been employed, but I haven't worked in 10 years. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. I feel very blessed to be able to do, my little piece to help support the dental community. Infection control is really near and dear to my heart, something I've been really passionate about for many years. And, that's just one part of compliance. I deal with a lot of different compliance things as well. But I'm really intrigued by it. And I can't really tell you why. I don't really know why that is, but I love learning about this stuff. And it's, the more I learn how much we maybe either don't know or don't really understand. A lot of things. I have a theory about why. It goes to your personality, and it goes to the fact that you were a cop, and you always got people, you spent your time working with people who are in a jam, and you like being the guy that keeps them from getting in a jam, right? Yeah, I guess I do. That does speak to my soul a little bit.
Okay. Well, that's
a lot.
I think because you like catching people doing stuff wrong, because better for them to have a conversation with you about how to fix things than to get inspected, right?
Well, it's not so much that I like catching people doing something wrong. I like to catch people doing things well, but I like to help them identify opportunities and learn new things. I'm always a student first and foremost, and I think learning for me is just one of the greatest gifts that we can have, and exercise freely. It's not a freedom that can be taken away, but it's something that we often take for granted. And if I can help people to better understand how to make their environment and what they do safer for their patients, I guess that's really what jazzes me.
No, that's a better answer. You're right. You do in such a positive way.
Well, I like to have fun with it too.
Oh yeah. I think that's why your clients love you. That's why they keep coming back. Why they stick with you thick and thin.
Short story for you here. I had a client down in Central Texas a few years back. I had just worked with this office for the first time a few weeks prior to this day or this occasion, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And I just happened to be driving through that town, so I called ahead and I said, "Hey, Doc, I'm about to roll through town. Do you mind if I stop in?" And the doctor said, "Yeah, Tink, actually, why don't you walk in the back door, because I want you to catch little Susie back there not wearing her PPE after we just talked about this." And I thought, okay, I got this. So I pulled up, cop style, wheels screeching. I jumped out of the car real quick like I'm there to conduct business, That was my thing when I was in law enforcement. You get to where you're going, you get out of the car and get to taking care of business. You don't sit there and fart around. So I got out, and I walk up, and I rip the back door open. I walk in, I have my camera out, and there she is in sterilization, and I holler at her, "Manos arriba." And she turns around and she goes, "Oh, Tink," and she's got all her proper PPE on. I'm pretty sure the doctor set me up, but I thought it was cool. I was right there to catch a picture of her doing everything exactly perfect. And I loved it. We had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. We could call this episode Duane.
Busted doing something right.
Yeah, busted. That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great story. That's a great story. Tell us a little bit about the data you collected recently, or if you don't have the data finalized, tell us about what you did in the first quarter of this year that was kind of new and unique for you.
So I did a lot of in-office inspections. I do a lot of virtual work, but this year my focus was, to start with, I wanted to go back in the office, and there's some things I can do in person that I can't do virtually. And so I invested some money, bought some equipment so I could test some different things. But one of the things that I was doing is I was taking a water sample from every office that I worked with. I wanted my own sample because I wanted the data. So I wanted to see pass or fail or what their CFU count was. So I took some quick passes with me and I took some water samples, and it was interesting. I don't have all the data to go through and present scientifically, but what I found is that most offices that have a treatment call in place or protocol in place, that when they follow the protocol, it works. What I also discovered is when they take the time to purge items connected to their dental unit, that flow of water really makes a difference in controlling their CFU counts. I also noted, very similar to what your results were, Mike, that when there's a pass is a pass and a fail is usually a significant fail and not just a small fail. So it was interesting to see that. What I learned from you guys is that every product, every germicide, every shock treatment out there has some failure rate of some sort. And that was my finding as well. But I also found a few products that seemed, in the results that I saw, were consistently different, better than most other products. And so that really surprised me. I know that a lot of people talk about the different straw systems, and some people like them, some people really don't. Based on what I saw, I really like them. So.
No, we like straws. We like the straw technology. There's no compliance issues, but you got to follow the instructions for use. And what we've learned, and maybe what you learned, is that a year is a long time to go without shocking. Can be.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you have somebody that's had biofilm issues, especially if they've had old biofilm, it's really hard to clean that up, that if they stay on top of the biofilm issue, they'll quickly have another biofilm issue, and it may be hard to take care of the second time around as much as it was the first time. So
exactly. Well, that's you got pretty deep into the weeds pretty quick doing your own research.
I did, and I kind of raised as many questions as I created answers, especially with some of the other things that I looked at. But it was really interesting, I thought, to see, the offices. I kept records to see who had a protocol in place prior to my test and prior to my visit versus who didn't, and what that protocol was, what type of practice they were. So I'll be able to break it down and look at the nitty gritty here. It was only a small sample of 80 practices, but it was still, I think
that's a lot. 80 practices, that's pretty impressive. And did you have a hypothesis going in?
My hypothesis was I guess it wasn't really well defined. I guess my hunch was that maybe we're not doing as good a job as we think we are. I guess that was my overarching hypothesis, not just related to dental units, but instrument cleaning and reprocessing as well. I did learn some things, and the biggest thing that I learned is that oftentimes people just don't read and follow the directions for the products that they use, and if they do, that the directions are spot on and are actually effective. So the simplest takeaway is, if you just make sure that you read the directions and follow them for the products that you're using, you'll really be doing as good a job as you think you are. But if you're not, you won't be. And I think that's the simple answer. That's
great.
So.
Now, how can people get a hold of you, Duane, if they have more questions about it?
I'm not hard to reach. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. You can reach me through our website, dentalcompliance.com. I invite you to check out our podcast if you haven't listened to it before, Talking with the Toothcop. You can email me at toothcop, common spelling, first name tooth, last name cop, at dentalcompliance.com. And there you have it.
And I love your podcast too. It's great.
It's a lot of fun to do. It's a labor of love for sure.
You can tell it comes across. And this is a labor of love for me. So thanks very much, Duane. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Take care.